Ladies and gentlemen, today, I invite you to step into a new level of living, into a reality where abundance is not something far off or reserved for a select few, but a state of being that is available to all of us, including you. This moment, right here and now, is the turning point. You didn't come across this message by accident. You were drawn here because something deep inside you is ready to unlock a greater flow of abundance. Every single day, life gives you a choice. You can wake up and repeat the same patterns, living on autopilot, or you can consciously choose to shape your mind, your thoughts, and your future. Your mindset is the steering wheel of your life. It determines how you interpret the world, how you face challenges, and how far you go in your journey. The truth is, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's built through small, consistent actions that strengthen your mind like daily exercise strengthens your body. You see, your mind is like fertile soil. If you plant seeds of positivity, gratitude, focus, and discipline every day, you will eventually harvest a life filled with growth and fulfillment. But if you let weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity grow unchecked, they will choke the potential out of you. That's why daily practices are so powerful, because they put you in control of what grows in the garden of your mind. Transformation starts with awareness. It's about realizing that your thoughts are not just fleeting whispers in your head, they are commands to your future. If you tell yourself you are capable, you start acting like someone capable. If you tell yourself you're defeated, you begin to live like a defeated person. The mind believes what you repeatedly feed it, so your job is to feed it strength, possibility, and focus every single day. Daily practices can be simple. A few minutes of meditation to quiet the noise. Journaling to clarify your thoughts. Affirmations to reprogram your beliefs. Visualization to connect with your future self. Reading to fuel your mind with new ideas. Exercising to energize your body so your mind stays sharp. The key is not complexity, the key is consistency. When you commit to showing up for your mind every day, you begin to rewire it for success. But let me be honest, this journey will not always be easy. There will be days when you feel tired, when old habits try to pull you back, when progress feels invisible. That's when you must remember, every small step compounds. Every day you choose to strengthen your mindset, you are building mental muscle. You are preparing yourself for the storms of life so that when they come, and they will, you stand firm, unshaken. And here's the beautiful truth. When you transform your mindset, you transform your reality. Opportunities that once seemed impossible start to feel within reach. Challenges that once crushed you become stepping stones. You start to carry yourself differently, speak differently, and think differently. People will notice something has changed in you. What they're really noticing is that you've taken back control of your life. So today, make the decision. Start small, but start now. Commit to one practice that strengthens your mind and do it every single day. Build on it. Protect it. And watch how, over time, those small daily choices create a mindset so powerful that nothing, no fear, no failure, no challenge, can break it. Your future self is waiting. Go meet them. Every achievement, every breakthrough, and every change you've ever dreamed of begins in one place, your mind. Before a building is constructed, there must be a strong foundation to hold it up. Without that foundation, no matter how beautiful the design, it will eventually collapse under pressure. Your mindset is that foundation for your life. It is the invisible framework that determines the strength of everything you build. The truth is, two people can face the exact same situation, yet walk away with completely different results. The difference is not the situation, it's the mindset they bring into it. One person might see a challenge and think, this is the end. Another person sees the same challenge and thinks, this is my opportunity to grow. That difference in perspective changes how they act, how they persist, and ultimately, how they succeed. Your mindset is not just a belief, it's the lens through which you interpret the world. If that lens is scratched, clouded, or tilted toward negativity, your perception of life will be limited. But when your mindset is strong, optimistic, and growth-oriented, you begin to see possibilities where others see roadblocks. This is why transformation never begins with external changes, it always begins with an internal shift. When your mind changes, your choices change. And when your choices change, your life changes. If you've ever tried to change your circumstances without first changing your mindset, you've probably noticed how difficult it feels. That's because you were trying to build a skyscraper on weak ground. True transformation happens from the inside out. The more you strengthen your mindset, the more resilient, adaptable, and powerful you become. It's like upgrading the operating system of your life. Suddenly, you're able to handle bigger challenges, make better decisions, and move toward your goals with greater clarity. When you decide that your mind will be the strongest part of you, you give yourself an advantage that no one can take away. External resources can be lost. Circumstances can change overnight. But a powerful mindset stays with you no matter where you go, and it can rebuild anything you lose. That is why mindset is not just important, it is the foundation of all transformation. Imagine a professional athlete preparing for the biggest game of their life. They don't train once and call it done. They train every day, repeating drills, building stamina, refining skills, until their body responds automatically in the heat of the moment. Your mind works the exact same way. Daily practices are the drills for your mental strength. They condition your thinking, shape your reactions, and prepare you for the challenges ahead. Too many people think mindset is something you either have or you don't, but in reality, it's a skill that can be developed. And like any skill, it needs consistent training. If you only work on your mindset occasionally, it will not be ready to support you when life hits hard. But when you train your mind daily, you build mental reflexes that kick in even when you're under pressure. Think of your mind as a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it gets weak. Negative thinking becomes easier. Fear becomes stronger. Doubt takes control. But when you engage in mental training every day, through meditation, reflection, visualization, and gratitude, you strengthen the neural pathways that promote clarity, confidence, and courage. Over time, your default thoughts shift from I can't to I will, from this is too hard to I can handle this. Daily practices also keep your mind focused on what matters. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of your goals and get caught up in unimportant noise. A strong daily routine acts as a mental anchor. It keeps you grounded, sharp, and intentional. Even on bad days, those practices remind you who you are and what you're working toward. Gratitude is another key, often underestimated tool in personal growth. It doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to see what's still good, even in the middle of difficulty. Gratitude shifts your perspective. It grounds you. It reminds you that you're already blessed in ways you once prayed for. And from that place of appreciation, you gain strength to keep going, not because you lack something, but because you have something worth fighting for. Gratitude turns what we have into enough, and from that place of enough, we create more. Personal development isn't linear. It's messy. You will have days where it feels like you've gone backward. You'll fall into old habits. You'll break promises to yourself. You'll question your path. That's part of the journey. Growth is not perfection. It's progress. The goal isn't to never fall, it's to rise quicker every time you do. Over time, you begin to trust yourself more. You become someone who follows through, who stands tall in chaos, who faces fear head-on, and who refuses to settle for average. That transformation becomes your new normal. That identity becomes unshakable. Personal development invites you to redefine failure, success, and the very definition of who you are. For most of us, identity is inherited. We are told who we are, by parents, culture, religion, peers, and over time, we adopt labels that become the blueprint of our lives. But what if your identity isn't fixed? What if you could become someone entirely different from who you've been told to be? The truth is, you can. Identity is not static, it's sculpted. Every day you're carving out your future self through choices, behaviors, and intentions. Growth happens when you stop asking who am I, and start asking who am I becoming. The journey of personal transformation is not for the faint of heart. It will require sacrifice, of comfort, of old patterns, of familiar chaos. It demands that you step into discomfort again and again until discomfort becomes your new comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen on the couch. It happens in the fire, when your muscles ache, when your mind resists, when your old self begs to stay safe. That's the moment you must push. Not because it's easy, but because every time you do, you silence the voice of doubt and awaken the voice of power inside you. The development of your inner world reflects in your outer world. If your mind is filled with chaos, your life will mirror it. If your thoughts are filled with clarity, courage, and vision, your actions begin to align. What we feed our minds becomes our reality. That's why mindfulness matters. Not just as a spiritual concept, but as a practical tool. Mindfulness teaches us to pause, observe, and act with intention. You become aware of your triggers, your impulses, your patterns. You interrupt the autopilot and reclaim control. From that awareness comes choice. And from choice comes transformation. Another often overlooked element of personal growth is the necessity of forgiveness, not just for others, but for yourself. You cannot rise to your highest self while dragging the shame of your past mistakes behind you. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has fallen short. That is the human experience. What defines us is not whether we stumble, but whether we get up with new wisdom. Forgiving yourself is not weakness. It is strength. It is saying, I refuse to let who I was yesterday decide who I become tomorrow. And in that forgiveness, you make space for reinvention. You will discover on this path that one of the most dangerous illusions is the need for validation. For much of our lives, we're trained to seek approval, grades, awards, likes, followers, applause. But true development requires that you detach from external validation. You must become someone who acts from inner alignment, not outer approval. That means doing what is right even when no one's clapping. That means building when no one's watching. That means standing in your truth even if it makes others uncomfortable. Because your life is yours to live, not theirs to judge. A turning point in this journey comes when you recognize the power of your time. Time is the most finite resource you own. Once spent, it never returns. Most people live as if they have forever. They waste time in gossip, distraction, resentment, and procrastination. But those committed to personal growth treat time with sacred attention. They audit their days. They create rituals. They ask themselves, is this task moving me closer to who I want to be? Every hour becomes a vote for the life you want. Every day becomes a chapter in your legacy. And when you begin to live like that, life responds. Opportunities open. Clarity increases. Success accelerates, not because you rushed, but because you aligned. You will eventually reach a moment when you feel like giving up. Not once, but many times. This is guaranteed. Growth is hard. Change is slow. The rewards often come after the storm. And there will be days when the mountain seems too steep and the path too long. But those who rise are not the ones who never feel like quitting. They are the ones who choose not to. They remember their why. They visualize their future. They speak life into their dreams, even when the evidence isn't visible. And because they keep going, they unlock doors most people never get to see. Surrounding yourself with the right people becomes a critical factor in your growth. Energy is contagious. Attitudes, mindsets, and habits spread like wildfire. If you want to grow, you need to place yourself among others who are growing. People who stretch your thinking, challenge your limits, and inspire your discipline. Sometimes, personal development requires social evolution, letting go of relationships that no longer support your future. That isn't cruelty. That's self-respect. You can love people from a distance without shrinking to stay in their presence. The right environment doesn't just support your growth, it accelerates it. As you evolve, so does your relationship with fear. Most people run from fear. But those on the path of mastery begin to see fear as a signal, not a stop. You'll find that your relationship with adversity shifts. Instead of avoiding challenges, you begin to seek them out. Not because you enjoy pain, but because you understand what it produces. Pressure creates character. Resistance builds strength. Struggle cultivates humility. Without adversity, there is no depth, no grit, no true resilience. You can read about courage, but only hardship teaches it. You can learn about patience, but only delay forges it. You can study peace, but only chaos reveals whether you've mastered it. In this way, your trials become your training grounds. And one day, what once broke you will become your story of becoming. As your journey deepens, so does your vision. You stop chasing shallow success. You stop measuring progress by applause or income alone. You begin defining success by alignment. Are you living your truth? Are you moving in purpose? Are you proud of who you're becoming? True personal development shifts your internal compass. You seek impact over ego, contribution over consumption, growth over comfort. And in doing so, you tap into a deeper kind of fulfillment, one that success alone can never buy. Eventually, you become aware of the spiritual layer of growth. No matter your faith or beliefs, personal development inevitably leads you inward. You start asking deeper questions. Who am I beyond my titles? What legacy will I leave behind? Why was I given this life, this story, these challenges? And in those quiet moments, you connect with something greater. Call it purpose, source, spirit, or soul. That connection becomes fuel. It reminds you that your life is not random, that your struggles have meaning, that your voice matters. And that growth is not just about personal gain, but about how you use your growth to serve others. The most powerful personal development is not loud. It doesn't always look like hustle or grind. Sometimes it looks like silence, like reflection, like saying no, like walking away from old stories, like choosing rest over burnout. like trusting the timing of your life instead of forcing it. Maturity and growth is learning when to push and when to pause, when to speak and when to listen, when to act and when to surrender. And this balance, this dance, is what makes personal development a lifelong journey, not a one-time event. As time passes on this journey, you begin to realize that your growth impacts more than just you. The way you lead yourself becomes a model for others. Your children, your friends, your team, your community, they all watch how you rise, how you respond, how you carry yourself. That's why personal development is also a form of leadership. You're not just changing your life, you're raising the standard for everyone around you. Your consistency gives others permission to be consistent. Your discipline reminds them what's possible. Your courage becomes contagious. And that ripple effect becomes a powerful legacy. Eventually, you reach a level where you're no longer chasing growth from a place of deficiency, but from a place of wholeness. You no longer pursue change because you hate yourself, but because you love yourself too much to stay the same. That's when transformation accelerates, because it's no longer fueled by shame or guilt, it's fueled by love, desire, and purpose. You want to grow not to prove something but to fulfill something. You know there's more in you. You know you were made for something greater. And that realization becomes your fire, even when everything else grows cold. In the beginning, you may find it difficult to let go of the old version of you, the one who was addicted to procrastination, who overthought everything, who made excuses, who waited for permission. That version of you had served a purpose, kept you safe, but it can't take you where you're going. Personal development requires a kind of death, the death of who you were, so that something new can emerge. It's a shedding like a snake shedding its skin. And though it's uncomfortable, it's necessary. Because no one evolves while clinging to outdated identities. There is a moment, sometimes sudden, sometimes gradual, when everything begins to shift. You start walking differently. You speak with more conviction. You carry yourself with calm confidence, not arrogance, but assurance. You're no longer triggered by the same things. You no longer react out of insecurity. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone, because you've begun proving yourself to yourself. And that is the ultimate win. When you stop outsourcing your worth, your validation, your power, you become unshakable. One of the deepest lessons on this path is the value of intention. So many people are busy, but not intentional.